Travis, it's great to have you on the show.
Great to be here, man.
It's actually been a while since we've had one of these combos.
For sure it has, yeah. I've seen you in passing a bunch of times, but...
And it feels like you've been up to a lot since the last time we had some quality time together.
I definitely have been, yeah. Been getting after it.
So what are some of the things that you're getting after? What's great in your life?
So the obvious ones, because social media, is Bucketless golf trips. So still running that, doing that page.
How many followers do you guys have now?
We just hit, like 3 days ago, 400,000.
400,000.
Yeah, so we're still growing.
And was it an original page or did you purchase it?
So this one we purchased at 150, but we tried it. So we started our own page to prove out the model to see if there was a market for it. So what happened is my buddy that I went to high school with hit me up. He's like, hey, I have this idea. There's a lot of pages that do just golf trips, but there's not many that do golf courses, but they don't do golf trips. And so he was like, I think like people would appreciate if you could say, hey, there's a trip that this is what we did. Here's the courses we played. You can actually go book this. He's like, I think there's a market for it. I was like, I'm down to try.
And were you like a big golfer before then, or how did he approach you about that? Like, what qualified it?
Yeah, so we're in a golf group together. So I started golfing when I was like 26.
Okay, and you're how old now?
32.
Okay.
Yeah, so been golfing 8-ish years.
Okay.
And the cool thing is, it's like, so we grew up together, but then I invited him to be in like our golf group. So we have 16 guys that go on a trip every year. We do like a Ryder Cup style, and it kind of grew from there. But then when he like had the idea, he's like, Trav, I was gonna hire a model to do it. He's like, but honestly, he's like, you kind of have like a look. You have long hair.
You
like,
could be the model.
Yeah. I was like, I'll be your model. And so that's how it started. And then, so we did 3 videos. Our first 3 videos all went viral. And the funny thing is
define viral.
I guess, so they had, the first 3 ones had over 50,000 shares.
Cool.
Which, I mean, that's a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, so they didn't go crazy viral, like into the millions of views. They probably got, the first 2 got like...
But really, it's all about the shares anyway.
Yeah, it's shares anyway. So we realized that it was like usable content.
Yeah.
That's what we were testing to see, is there a market? When that many people are sending it, you're okay. There's a market for it. So once we did that, we kept that page and we kind of double post. But then we purchased another just golf page, had 150K followers on it, and then grew it from there.
Oh, so you were running parallel systems to see which one would fare better.
The other one is our testing ground. We'll do not smart. Riskier content, but we just do kind of anything on that one and just see how it does. And then
by the way, I don't know if you know this, but that's a business principle. It's you always run parallel systems. Oh. So let's say that you're bringing on another platform.
Yeah.
I've been in businesses in the past where they've turned off the incumbent, they've turned off the original to let the new one come in instead of running parallel systems, so you can work out all the kinks, all the bugs, figure out what's going on, so you can still save face, so you can still have some sort of backup.
Okay, yeah.
So what you just did is brilliant. I don't know if you already knew that principle, but you always run parallel systems until the new entrant becomes stronger, more powerful than the incumbent.
I didn't know that as a principle, but like it just made more sense to us. We were like, why would we shut this page off that's growing and doing things? I was like, that just doesn't make sense.
And Travis, this is the issue. Common sense is not often not very common.
Yeah.
So props to you guys.
Yeah, good to know.
Okay, so you're running these parallel systems. You decide, okay, we're going to go with the winner.
Yeah, so then we purchased a page, and the Bucketless golf trips, that one we really keep to like golf games and golf trips. So the golf games is when we don't have a lot of trips to post about, we'll do like golf games just to kind of keep the content flowing and to keep things.
Golf games, what you're saying is just ideas of what to do.
Betting games usually. So it's like if you're playing banker, you're playing hammer.
But is it essentially just teaching people all these different games that they can play on their specific golf trips?
Yep.
That's cool.
So when they're going on with their boys, it's like you're out there. Most of the time people are smoking cigars, drinking, they want to be betting. Yeah. And so it's just different things to do that with.
Okay. You mentioned the boys. How about the girls?
The girls, I love that actually. Just how like, I feel like I'm going to use Lululemon. Lululemon used to be a total girl brand. Yeah. Now guys wear Lululemon through and through.
And by the way, you know that because I think one of the last times I see Travis.
I used to work there.
He was at a mall and I look at what do you call these things? The
mannequin.
No, but the display thing. The
display case?
Yeah, the display.
Yeah.
Look at the display case. I'm like, that's a human being. That's not a mannequin.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I see Travis in this yoga pose, just as still as can be. I'm like, I think that's Travis. Like,
yeah, that's the best part. Is
I'm like poking him like, that's Travis. What are you doing here? And then I see you on Bucketless Golf, and I take a screenshot, and I send it to Scott Cochimiglio.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, who in the hell is this? Is that Travis? He's the man of all trades. He's in yoga. He's in Bucketless Golf. He's doing it all. So that's how, because I asked him, is this Travis?
Yeah.
So in two different occasions, I've had to ask, is this Travis? Is this the mannequin guy? And is this the Bucketless Golf guy?
That's something you can count on me. I'm pretty consistent in being inconsistent, where it's like, I'm down to do it. I'm like, if someone's like, oh, I don't, because like the whole thing is Lululemon, they're like, hey, we need live models to do it during Christmas. Like that's going to be our thing, like being present. Like we're going to have live models instead of fake ones. All the people were like, we don't want to do it. They're like, Trav, can you do it? I was like, sure. I was like, I'm just going to sit there, close my eyes. And I would open it and people would be like tapping on the glass. There'd be like 20 people right there. I was like, yeah. No. And then like I remember you came and tapped my shoulder. I was like, oh crap. Like, I was like, oh, what up, dude? And then I went back to Zen mode.
That's awesome. Okay. So is that your mainstay now? Is that what you spend most of your time doing?
No, that's actually super part-time.
Really?
Yeah. The main stuff I do.
Dude, you guys are active on that thing.
We are,
like,
but
you guys do a great job.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's honestly, so my partner does the majority. He actually does all the editing and he runs the page as a whole. I just go on trips, film the content, do the things we need to do. Like, hey, do this and say this. I'm like, okay, I'll go do it. But so he does the majority of that work, but even then it's still very part-time.
Yep.
The main thing I do is, so I about 4 years ago started raising money for an oil project.
Okay.
So we found an oil exploration company.
I think somebody mentioned this to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's what I do full time. So I raise money. I'm on my 4th fund. Actually, I finished it a week ago. So
cool.
Moving forward in that project. And
where are they drilling?
Outside of Lubbock. So Rawls County, or Rawls. Cool. It's in Rawls.
So outside of the Permian Basin.
It's actually still in it. It's just very on the border. It's like right there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So you're in the oil and gas business
full-time.
Oil and gas
business, yeah.
And mainly raising capital.
Mm-hmm.
And that, which goes hand in hand with golf trips because a lot of your investors are...
It makes it easier to raise money when people go, hey, let's go golf with the Bucketless guy. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about this oil stuff.
Okay.
It kind of works hand in hand.
Okay. And how do you pronounce the other page? Zyre Golf? Zyre Golf.
Yeah.
So he decided to go faceless. And I actually know who that is. You probably know who that is.
Yeah, he's in my golf group.
He's in your golf group.
Yep. So the 16 guys, he's one of those 16 guys.
Oh, is he?
Mm-hmm.
Does he not want people to know who he is?
I don't know if he doesn't want to, but actually he probably doesn't want people to know because he keeps it pretty private. He's just a private guy in general. Yeah. He's just super private, stays in his lane, and he's a stick at golf. That's the thing is he's so good at golf. One of our trips, the airline lost his luggage, and so he had rentals the whole trip. Was still shooting under par.
Crazy.
I'm just like, dude, I'm over here fighting for my life, and he just shows up. He's like, dude, we're just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so I even because in different encounters I've said, hey, do you mind if I tell people you're the Bucketless Golf guy? And I think I say that because of the Zyre guy because I had to look it up and see if it was true.
Oh yeah.
Because his dad brought it up to me. I'm like, oh, let me vet this out.
Yeah.
So any method to the madness of why you're choosing to go pretty much in person versus faceless? Is there any? I'm just always curious on strategy.
Yeah. So actually, so my partner, he's going faceless. So most people don't know who the actual guy who runs the page does all the things. I'm the face of it because he didn't want to be the face. He wants to stay kind of like Zyre in the background doing stuff, but doesn't want to have to deal with if something crashes, if something doesn't look good, if you're getting made fun of. I don't know. But he stays on that side. And he goes on the majority of the trips, honestly. So he has a really good thing on his side. I have a good on my side.
That's cool.
Basically just playing to our strengths.
And where do you guys rank in golf pages? You guys have to be pretty high up there, right?
So in golf destinations and courses, we're number 1.
Yeah.
That I've seen. I haven't seen any that are bigger, but as far as golf pages that are you got Breezy, Zyre, a bunch of those ones that are 1, 2 million followers. We're on the lower end on that side, but I feel like we're past the threshold where we're kind of in the mix of all the influencers now, but it's just, we just kind of stay we're just going to grow and do our thing. And
that's super cool. Yeah. Congrats on that, man.
Thanks.
As far as all the trips you've taken, top 3, start with 3, and then go to 1, then go to 2, then go to 1.
I would say 3 was probably Tulum, Mexico. We went and did the PGA Riviera Maya, Mayakoba. So they had the PGA events there.
My cousin's in Mayakoba today.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Today?
Yeah, today.
Crazy.
Today.
Talking about crazy too. There's been so many things that have been coincidence of me coming on this podcast today. I'll tell you that later. But there was like so many coincidences. I was like, damn.
Tell me now. I'm intrigued.
So obviously back in the Vivint days, you were the regional. So when you guys would do your weekly recaps, one of the songs that would play on most of your like entries came on my shuffle on the way here.
Really?
I was like sitting there, I'm like and I was like, it took me right back to like Texas. I'm like, dude, I'm getting in the mood. I'm gonna go out and knock. I heard it. I was like, yo, this is sick. But just stuff like that. I'm like, and like when you texted me, I was wearing this shirt because it's my favorite shirt.
I love it.
It's just quality is just high.
There it is.
But yeah, just stuff like that.
That's
And I was
cool.
just like, yeah, it all was just kind of like flowing. I'm like, yeah, I'm here for that.
I love it. Okay, so we got Tulum at number 3.
Yeah, so Tulum, and then I've actually been here twice now. So Indiana, we'd go to French Lick, where Good just did their Western Invitational there. We went there as a group of 16, just barely, like 3 months ago. You wouldn't think it, but it's where Larry Bird's hometown is. Great golf, like it's cheap. The courses are in crazy good shape, and it's just is like really good golf.
Okay.
So I'd say that's number 2, and then Bandon Dunes for me, number 1.
Over Pebble.
I actually haven't been to Pebble yet.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. I still like Bandon Dunes is one of those trips where I'm like,
it's spiritual.
It is spiritual. You get there, like you feel different on the grounds. There's nothing else to do there but golf. You're with people you love. You're out there just playing, world top class courses.
How did Big Cedar fare? Because I know you did Big Cedar not too long ago in Missouri.
So Big Cedar, it's also up there. But for me, Big Cedar, we didn't stay on property. They have like off property hotels as well as the on property ones.
Honestly, everything is off property because the courses are so far away.
They're so
from
far
the
away.
lodging.
Lots of mistakes. So it was still like on property, but it wasn't the ones that were like have you been to Paynes Valley?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the cabins that are right off like that.
Trust me.
It's
like it's a complaint that I have.
That you didn't stay there? Or that you did?
That just their whole infrastructure, their logistics, their shuttle service.
It's not great.
Brother, it takes you, this is no hyperbole, like an hour and a half to get you to your tee time when you're staying
we had
cars using their shuttles.
Yeah, we didn't use their shuttles. We drove. But like
you have to drive.
Every time there was a couple guys like, oh, we'll take the shuttle. They were late for their tee time.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. And you're in the shuttle and you're like, this is such an easy fix. Like they should figure this out, You
would think, right? But you're a processes guy. Most people aren't like that. So for them, they think they're doing good. When you're like, no, this is bad. Like this is not flowing. There's no flow here.
Literally after day 1, we're like, we're done with the shuttles. We're Ubering.
And, you Ubered? No way.
Yeah, we just Ubered. Way easier. So
honestly, it probably was better. So so if you played there, where would you rate the courses there?
I loved Buffalo the most. Buffalo
really?
Ridge.
How was it like?
And it's probably because of the way I played too.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I did not like Ozark Trail at all.
That was my least favorite. Ozark.
Plus, we played 36 a day, and I'm not good enough to play even 18.
Yeah, I got you.
Much less 36. Yeah. So that was painful for me. But I liked. Remind me of the 19th one of the world course again.
Well, you got Paynes Valley. That's the Tiger course.
Yeah. So the Tiger course with the 19th hole. So I really enjoyed that one too.
Yeah.
So I would say for me it was Buffalo, then Paynes, then I would not play Ozark again.
Yeah. I said while I was playing Ozark, I could never play this course again. I'd be just fine.
Yep.
It's a good course, but like if you're paying top dollar and you're wanting the whole experience, it was just an okay course.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Buffalo Ridge was cool. I lost my drone in the Buffalo arena. Had to go jump the fence and go get it. My heart was pounding.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's an electric fence, by the way.
I know. I had to go over the wood fence, under the electric fence, and then I had to crawl up this ravine because they're buffalo. Like they can run 40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But I was like, I had the whole trip on there. I'm like, I'm not losing my drone.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't get it for me. They're like, yeah, we don't even know who like owns that. We're like, what do you mean? This is your course.
Really?
It's a third party. They don't even have connection with them.
Huh.
But I was like, so anyways, I had to go get it. But that was a whole
that was one of my favorite film shots, just of those buffalo right there off that hole.
So cool. Did you see the albino one?
I don't think I did.
There was an albino buffalo. That's what I was taking pictures of, and it stood up and it hit the drone and just fell down. Cool. And I was like, oh man.
Yeah, I think you took your trip maybe 2 weeks after I took my trip, something like that.
Yeah, because I saw you at the Ken Garf.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Well, cool deal. So how do these trips work? So do they reach out to you? Do you reach out to them?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Depends. If we want to go somewhere, we'll reach out if they haven't. So the Paynes Valley one, I was actually going there with a group of 32 guys I met at Waste Management. And so we hadn't done that one yet. So we reached out and said, hey, I'm going to come. Do you want me to do a video and do content? They're like, sure. So then they covered my golf, stuff like that. But
so what all do they cover? Just
it's different every trip. Some people, they do, you know, like here's a 10 grand package, whatever. It's like they kind of give you the budget and you then plan the trip. Some people say, hey, we'll cover your airfare, room and board, golf. Some just do golf. Some just do.
How often do people reach out to you versus you reaching out to them?
I would say now that we've grown, it's the majority reach out to us.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Because there's a ton of small courses too, all over the place that are trying to get good publicity. So they're all trying to get like, hey, come and play these courses. So there's a ton of those ones. But of course, we've been hitting the mainstays first, and then we can go to the next tier down and start doing all those ones.
That's cool. Have any, and you can share or not share, but have any revenue sharing opportunities shown up or not yet?
Yeah, they have. The thing is that's funny is like our goal with it was just to get free golf. That was our goal. We're like, hey, if we can just do these trips, get free golf, that'd be awesome. We achieved that almost instantly. And then it was like after that, everyone was like, you need to monetize, you need to do those things. And we were like, we don't need to do that. Like what we need this to be, it's achieving for us. And that's something I had to take on.
Which keeps it cool.
Yeah, it just keeps it
listen, I know it sounds cliche nowadays because we've all seen the movie The Social Network.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, I don't know what it is yet. I don't want to charge anything. It's just cool. And if we charge, it's going to make it not cool, you know? Mm-hmm. When Eduardo was trying to monetize immediately.
Yep.
So I get what you're saying. And even though it sounds cliche, it's absolutely true. Like it's all about you create the value and then the dollars will always follow. So focus on the value creation. It always comes. And I mean, that's something for all the listeners and viewers right now. It's whatever it is that you're doing. Trust us. Focus on the value creation. And the money will come at some point. But if you're worried about making the money, it's going to be short-lived. It's just not going to be elegant. It's not going to be authentic. It's not going to be beautiful.
And it doesn't like show through on what you're trying to achieve. Because here's the deal. At the end of the day, if you are worth it, you can continue to do it. That's where I feel like a lot of people get nervous is they're like, well, maybe I'm not good enough to continue with this, like doing it at this level. So I need to monetize while I still have it. Yeah. Where I'm like, that's more like I'm lucky, less of like I'm putting in the effort to make sure I continue to put out a good product, to do the things. And it's through that effort that's like, yeah, you do it long enough, of course. And we have a brand deal with Rowback. So we do have brand deals now.
How many brands are you working with? You don't need a list.
Well, small ones, I don't know. 15.
That's great.
Yeah, there's a ton of small brands we work with, and like Rowback's a bigger clothing brand, so that's like been our main one. I mean, I say it in all my videos, I'm like, go to Rowback, 20% off, you know, stuff like that.
That's cool.
So, but it's been fun, and we kind of shut out the outside world. We're like, what we are trying to achieve this, it's like our thing, we're doing it, we're in a good spot with it, and yeah, we enjoy it.
That's super cool. Tell them about that hat. That's a sick hat.
Yeah, so honestly, I saw Mitch Matthews wearing it in a podcast. Shout out Mitch. And I was like, I got to go buy it. So I went to their website and found it online and just bought it.
What website?
Honestly, I can't remember if it's 33, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
But they just have like
another
different
plug.
brands.
Hey, yeah. 33.
33.
Bucketless golf trips.
Got you. I purchased this hat on your guys' website.
Okay, so what else is fun? Or before I ask you that question, golf trips that you're excited to take that you haven't taken yet? I mean, is Pebble on your list or?
It is. So I'm actually working. I'm working to do like a Pebble trip. Like there's I forget what it's called. There's something. It's like the Orange County like loop, and I'm trying to get that whole trip. It's like a whole thing, but I'm trying to put that as part of like a loop we do, and then do this whole thing. So that's hopefully coming next year probably.
Okay.
Ones I'm excited for. We're going to British Columbia, Canada. We're doing Predator Ridge. It's a resort up there. That's in September. Next year, I'm going to. We've already done Pinehurst as a video, but I didn't go. My buddy went, so I'm going with another group next February. I'm also going to Scotland, so we're doing that whole.
First time in Scotland.
First time. Well, I served my mission in England,
okay,
but I never made it to Scotland, so first time in Scotland.
First time golf and first time in. That'll be fun.
Yeah,
I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, so it's should be a good time. Yeah, those are probably the ones I'm most excited. I'm in Scotland. I'm just like I'm stoked to go there. It's gonna be so sick.
So how many of these golf trips are you guys running a year? Sounds like a lot.
The thing is, that's what's funny about social media, because like you have your own world, and then you see little snippets, so you think it's a bigger thing than you're, because like, you're so focused on your own stuff. We've only been on probably like 50 trips, and it's been 18 months. I mean,
wait, did you just say only before 50? Is that what you just said? Or did you say 15?
I said 50. But I'm like,
only 50.
I'm like,
that's a lot of trips.
I guess that is a lot of trips, but it's like,
That's a lot. That's probably more than I thought you would have said. That's a lot of golf, which is good.
Yeah, no, it's great. Well, and I only go on like probably 10% of those.
Really?
Yeah, because like we send a lot of our like golf homies, and like we'll like
And
send
then you'll
family.
do the commentary and all that good stuff.
Well, yeah, I'll do that after. So we'll send them with the drone, say, hey, go do this trip, like hook it up,
Okay.
and then.
So I'm saying, bro, if you're golfing,
I'm not going on that.
50,
I would be
okay,
so,
I
would be so golfed out.
you.
I would be out of here.
Yeah. No, there's a point of diminishing return on fun. That's for sure.
It turns into work 100%. Yeah.
Well, cool deal. How do you view the world of golf today? Like, where is it currently, and where is it headed?
I love where it's at. So a lot of the golf purists hated when Liv came in. They're like, oh, blood money, all this stuff. And for me, I just thought it like checked, like they had a monopoly on it. It kind of checked and say, hey, there's a new player in that's going to compete because they have the money to do it. And so I actually think there's a lot of new growth in golf that I love.
Yeah.
It's bringing new people in. It sucks getting a tee time these days because if you're playing at a public course, it's like they're booked out forever.
Sure.
But I think golf is in a really good growth stage where a lot of the purists, they like to keep it close knit. I'm all about growth and more people getting the experience and like growing it. So I think golf's in a great spot.
Yeah, I think that's what the game wants, and to be frank, it's what the game needs. I think it was a little bit too exclusive for too many years and too elitist, if you will. Mm-hmm. How many times have you been to Waste Management?
Twice.
Yeah. When was your first time? When was your last time? Was it this?
I went this last year when it was a shit show.
So I'm gonna get into that. So when was the first time?
The first time was 2019.
That's pre Full Swing on Netflix, correct?
Correct.
So what happened after Full Swing? The crowd, the attendees of the Waste Management were a completely different crowd.
Oh, it's way different.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So even that show on Netflix, they're two seasons in or whatever.
And
I don't know how many they're going to do.
New eyes on it.
It's just, you're there and you're like, that person's never been on a golf course.
And if
that
they have,
person doesn't know what a driver is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just not just, but the amount of women that were attending these events.
Well, the amount of women influencers these days, it's like they're just shooting out. Like there's a ton of them.
Yeah, so I've been 3 times.
Okay.
This last time was my last time. I'm not going back. It's too crazy.
Were you in a suite or were you?
A combination of the two. So.
Because I wasn't, and I'm telling you, that was.
I was, and this is why I said a combination of the two. Because if you left your suite and went to go meet somebody or to
follow a golfer,
you're done.
You're
like
done.
It's going to take you 3 to 4 hours to try to get back.
So I have a theory on this. I think so. When they said like, oh, the people stormed, the people at the front literally just said, whatever, just get people in. So they literally just started letting people in. And there was 500,000 people there. When that place, it's a golf course. Like you can't have that many people there. And then they stopped serving alcohol. Because here's my thing: is like Waste Management, you go there to get plastered. People they've always done that year after year, but this year they blamed the alcohol, I think, as an insurance thing. I think they wanted to get away from like the liability of that they messed up and they let so many people in and it was a hazard, that they're going to hedge it by stopping serving alcohol and blame it that everyone was too drunk.
No, it was crazy. So the first day I went in, it was maybe 8:30 in the morning. Mm-hmm. And the people, not that were already there, but people walking in like pre-gaming were already plastered.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm like,
I feel like it was like that every year though. Like when I was there in 2019.
Maybe I just noticed it more this year because the crowds were just that much.
That's what I'm saying. Because
crazier.
there were so many people, it heightened it. And I think that's where it got
Did I
pushed
run into
blame.
you?
I don't think so.
Okay. I ran into a few guys. Maybe.
Because in 2019, I did the whole like you start drinking at midnight and you go and you party and then you go into the bridge and then when you run to the 16th hole. I did that in 2019 and I just beelined it and people were gassed after 100 yards. And so I just kept on running. I was in shape and so I got there and I was first row right there on the 16th hole. There was like 20 of us dressed up like caddies. Awesome experience.
Yeah,
Loved it.
Cool. That's cool. Talk to me a little bit about your oil and gas ventures. Because that's,
it's not every day.
Yeah.
It's not common. So
and how'd you get into that?
So my brother talked to someone who knew someone who talked to a guy who was like, hey, we're raising for oil and gas. So in oil and gas, if you go and do a wildcat, it's where you're calling your shot. You go and you drill the first time. It's the riskiest thing you can do in oil. I didn't know that at the time. I was kind of like, oh, sounds like a good opportunity. Like oil and gas, that's not something you get into every day. So we raised money for that original well 3.5 years ago. And then from there, that one, we actually hit oil but then they messed up the construction on it, so it was an X, didn't work. Fast forward, we did another 2-well package. First one didn't work, and now the second one is supposed to get its pumped on today and continue on. So it's like it's been a long time coming. Had to deal with a lot of stuff, but that's how we got into it, and now we just kind of moved that direction in it.
That's cool. So when you're out raising capital, how much are you usually raising for these projects?
Our raise for the 2-well package was a $4.2 million raise. We spent that, and then we had to move to completion, so we added another $500,000 that we raised.
So not a massive raise.
Not crazy, but like, yeah. I've realized in oil, if you go to the project with $5 million, it's really risky. But if you go with $50 million, it's like you can't lose. Because in oil and gas, it's all about just like, I think the industry standard is 30% success rate. So if you spend $2 million to drill, you have to drill 3 times to get one that will hit. The one that hit is worth it because you make so much.
That's cool. Yeah, so it's just a game of averages, just like
game of averages, yeah.
Venture capital,
which is scary because we were 4.2, and then we had to raise more money because we ran into some issues, made it to 4.7, but now the pump's getting installed today and should be pumping by the weekend.
Okay, and then how does that life work? So you start pumping, and then what's the tail like? Like how long is the life of the?
Yeah, so these ones, the data that we got, our Baker Hughes logs, it should be going for like 35 years. So with a little bit of a decline curve as there's less pressure in the ground. But this one, we have 10,000 acres leased up right outside of Lubbock and zoned to do, 350, 400 wells. And so once we get this one going, then we're going to do more and more and just develop the whole thing out.
Keep expanding. Mm-hmm. And then what's the return profile look like? So when would investors get their principal back?
Yeah, so the way we structure it is actually cool because most of the time in oil and gas, they say, hey, we'll give you your investment back and have a trickle in effect, but then it's like you're kind of like cut out of it. This one, we brought our investors on for the long haul because it was so risky doing like at the beginning a wildcat. They get a 90% preferred return on their money till they 3x their cash. And then once they 3x their cash, it drops down to a 30%. So anything that comes out of the well, they're getting 30% of it for the life of the well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool deal. And then is your expectation just to stay in that business into perpetuity?
Yeah. I just want to grow it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like I look at like, 168 and a lot of those things, and I'm like, I want to grow to a spot where I'm almost like same level, and then we're going back and forth doing a lot of bigger projects. It's like, hey, I'm over here on the commodity side, you guys are doing real estate because you guys are dialed on the stuff you do. So I'm like, why would I want to try to do that when I can just give you cash?
Sure.
And then vice versa. It's like I want to be a professional in this side of things and just kind of get to that spot where I'm up here.
Okay, cool. It's awesome. Where do you turn to learn about this asset class? What's the best way to learn about it?
YouTube University, mentors. I mean, you talk about mentors all the time. For me, that's actually been the thing that has gotten me where I've gotten to.
Sure.
I have to go out and do the work, learn the things. But when you have someone that can be a mentor, whether I like what you said at one of your conferences, it was like, you don't have to meet all your mentors. It can be in a book. It can be you listen to their podcast, or it can be someone who's personally in your life mentoring you. And I was like, you know what? In that case, I switched in my mind what a mentor is, and it helped me. And now at that point, I feel like I've just been consuming and actually being able to put out a lot more of what I'm learning.
Yeah, there's a lot of mentors in this room.
So many.
Look at all the books.
I was looking at your wife's wall, and I was like, those are all your wife's? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think my wife is up to like 32 books now out in the wild, and she keeps pumping them out.
Yeah, as I said, a whole section is pretty impressive.
Yeah, but yeah, going back to mentors is quite often the people that mentor me, they have no idea they're my mentors, and I'm completely fine with that.
Yeah.
So it could be podcasters, it could be authors, it could be people that are currently running businesses. And, the mentors that I like are the ones that have actually been through hell and back, if you will, that didn't have it.
They get it.
Yeah, they're not just teaching because they want to teach it. It's like they're doing it because they did it and they're so great at it. They're willing to go share their best practices with others.
100%.
A lot of these gurus,
they're regurgitating the information.
All they're doing is just getting on a microphone and just spitting out stuff without really having ever done anything.
Exactly. So. Well, and that's what's cool is like full circle, like being on a podcast now with you. It's like Vivint days, you were definitely a main mentor. I watched your training videos over and over again. And like, you were like, I always say I went on my mission. I learned how to be spiritual, learned how to like have a connection with God, all those things. I came back. Vivint taught me how to be like the world side of that. It's like, how do you work hard? How do you maximize your efforts? How do you really build something? And I'm like, that came from you, Bodie, and Casey.
That's cool.
It was like that whole, everything was the grounds of where I've done all the stuff I've done.
Yeah. What's interesting is now being in the chair in which you're in, you probably never, back then you would have probably never guessed that this would be the situation.
Never,
that you're in
ever.
now.
Like not even close. And
that's one of my guiding principles too, is like view everybody as an asset, view everybody as,
it's the respect.
And also, like, I try to view everybody as a mentor of mine. Like, you can mentor me on so many different things because I don't have that knowledge of whatever you're specialized in. So for me, it's all about connecting with humans that are doing cool things at a high level and leveraging that expertise and enjoying, you know, that journey alongside with people. And I also call mentors my time machines because they've paid the price. I can read their books. I can hire them to mentor me. And I'm saving myself a ton of time. I have a time machine.
It's where the people say there's no shortcuts. I'm like, there's a ton of shortcuts. Now, cutting a corner,
sure,
that's not what you do. But like shortcuts, they're all over the place. Like you said, they're your time machine.
Yeah.
Someone's already paid the price. They've learned the thing. I don't need to do the School of Hard Knocks, which guilty. I tend to do that better. But I'm like, other people have already made the mistakes, done the things. They know how to do it the quicker way. Go learn from them.
Love it.
Yeah, that's legit.
Okay, cold therapy. I see you're in the river all the time. Talk about cold therapy.
Really, cold therapy for me is just, it gets me out of my own way. So if I start to get like too like in a rut or like I'm doing these things, I can go jump in the river. It resets me. It shocks my nervous system. It gets me back to like, I was in it this morning. We went and did the show run club. Every Friday we go run at a different place. So this time we ran down Mill Creek Canyon, and it's at the bottom of Mill Creek is where we go cold plunge all the time. So then we went and cold plunge. So that's what I did right before this. But it's like, for me,
So you guys do a run every Friday?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, every Friday.
Even in the wintertime?
I only joined it like 5 months ago, so I don't know if they do in the wintertime. But so far in the summertime, we've been really enjoying it.
And then how far do you guys run?
It's usually a 5K. Yeah, so it's anywhere from 3 to 5
chill.
miles. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It depends. Honestly, you can walk, you can do whatever you want. It's more just the community thing.
That's cool.
Because that's what I love. Anything that's community based, it's like it allows other people to come and like if they're not good at like socializing, it's like, oh, I can run, so let me come to this thing. Where it's like if it's so social, that person's not going to come. The running's the vehicle to get people out, get you talking, get all the juices flowing. So I like it. But yeah, but going back to the cold plunging, I don't know the good or the bad. For me, I'm like, I like it. It gets me out of my own head and helps me just focus on what I'm doing. And it actually puts me in a good mood. So I'm like, I'll take it for the positive that it is. And I'm like, I'm here for it.
Do you always do rivers, or do you sometimes do the baths or whatever they're called?
I don't have one at my house. So like
plungers.
I'll go to the cold plunges if they're at parties or if I go to events. But if I don't have that, I go to the river because it's easy. Like, yeah, this last winter from December 1st to February 1st, I went every day in the river. So through the winter time. And
every day?
Every day. Yeah. I missed probably 5 days, but like that's pretty much every day.
Wow. And what's the temp usually?
So in the wintertime, it was 36, 37 degrees. We had a little temperature gauge in the river. Now it's up to like 43, 44.
Do you still feel it, or
no, it's still
pretty
very
accustomed
much
to it?
It's still there. You still have to do it, but I'm like, it's very much like you just get in, you do it.
And how long are you usually in there?
I do anywhere from 4 to 7 minutes. If I'm really getting after it, if like I'm with Jake Lords goes for 10 years. So like he'll always be like, Trav, come on, you got this. I'm like, okay, I'll go 10 minutes, 12, whatever. But I usually go about 4 to 7.
Yeah. So I guess, you know, when you go now, since you've been so many times, I mean, you're going every single day.
Yeah.
Does it still give you the jitters when you're first going in, or is it pretty?
Yeah. It's about 15 seconds. You get in, it shocks you. You're like, but then you start breathing through your stomach. And then I just tell myself, this is good for you. It's grounding. I'm in the river. You're just getting nature. I go, yeah, this is good for you. I'm like, and I just kind of start enjoying nature and the people around me.
Okay. And you said when I want to get out of my head, or when I want to get out of, you know, any crazy thoughts, and we say this all the time, if you get in your head, you're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
So talk to us about that. What's causing you to think that way, and where did you learn that principle?
I learned it from, I realized that like I am a pretty optimistic person. I'm pretty positive. And I used to think everyone was like that. I grew up thinking, man, everyone thinks positively. Everyone's really just trying to help and be their best person. I realized that's not true at all. A lot of people are in their own heads, whether they're pessimistic, negative, whatever it is. People are trying their hardest to do things in this life, and it's difficult. And so once I learned that principle of like, most people aren't like that, I was like, oh, I should probably focus and stay in what I'm really naturally good at, which is staying positive, being focused. So if I start to get in a place where I'm like, man, I'm stressed out about things, so I start giving in devices, whatever it is, I'm like, I need to tone it back, come back to self and be present. That's where I'll say, okay, I need to like stop lashing out in ways that I know are dumb. I need to get back to like my basics, my principles, my things. And if I'm my greatest self, it allows other people to be their greatest selves around me. And so
almost a responsibility that you feel like you have.
I really do. Yeah, it's a responsibility at this point.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting that, we judge others by the way we feel about ourselves? It's like, you've heard this, but hurt people.
Yeah.
They're just reflecting. That's something. It's not about you. It's about them, so forth and so on. But we all have these unique abilities in life, right?
Yeah.
And since it's unique to us and it's ours, we automatically, by default, assume that other people have those same abilities.
Yeah.
In fact, I was talking to my wife just 2 days back, and she's like, I just have to get out of my head because I feel that what I do, anybody can do and everybody does.
It's
Like what her author work.
I said that same thing.
Yeah, and it's, and even me, I'm good at recruiting, I'm good at leadership, training, whatever. But I feel like early on I learned that that's a skill set that is pretty unique to me. And I've been able to break it down in a way where I can teach it to others.
Which is impressive. That's true intelligence, right? When you can break something down, a complex thing, make it simple and teach it.
But again, it's not universal because there's some things that I'm also good at that I get frustrated with my kids or other people like, bro, this is like common sense. Let's go. I guess the reason I share all this is figure out what your unique ability is. Mm-hmm. If you don't think you have one,
you have it for sure.
You have one for sure.
Everyone does.
So just take some time to write down what you think your unique ability is, interview other people, have them tell you. You might be surprised actually. And then what you should do is take it to the market, take it to the world, take it to the universe.
Yeah.
And escalate it, like make it better, accelerate it, because the world needs that. They need that superpower that you have.
I always say when people go, Trav, I don't know like what I want to do. I'm not passionate about anything. I'm not like, I don't know any of these, like, I don't know what I like. And I'm like, when's the last time you tried something new?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I don't know. I'm like, go try shit. Yeah. I'm like, that's the best way. I'm like, that was something I learned very early in life. Not by like purposely doing it. I kind of stumbled into like, I just got used to trying new things. Yeah. And I'm like, that's how I found what I was good at. I found what my skills are.
Yep.
Most people, I'm like, go try shit. When you try things, it opens up to like, you can at least say, that's not what I like. That's not what I like. That's not what I like. I like this. And then you can go off something. And you have a base to go off of now.
And when I was growing up, and a lot of folks from my era, and I know that some people don't like hearing the era talk.
Yeah.
But, it's, you go to college. That's a must.
Oh, yeah.
So I graduated high school in 94.
Okay.
So we're still of the school of you get good grades, you go to college, you get a safe and secure job, go get a 401k.
Oh, yeah. Heard it all.
Go get a company car. That was everything. My parents, their generation, not college, right? Mm-hmm. My dad went to Vietnam, all that good stuff that comes with that. So it's not a culture of explore, try new things. It's very much a culture of decide what your major is immediately, so you can graduate college and you can be marketable.
By like necessity almost.
Yeah, it's like
they came from a necessity after war.
Yeah, because, the Great Depression and just losing everything.
Which I get it. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
So it's been harder for me to tell my kids, hey, explore. Like, try new things.
Do it.
Screw things up. Mm-hmm. Because for me in my 20s, it was like fight or flight. Like, you got to get it dialed in.
Oh yeah.
So I've been mentoring my kids to be like, try a lot of different things. There's a lot of different roads you can take. There's a lot of careers you can take. There's a lot of businesses you can do. In fact, don't even always worry about the money, because if you do that, you're not going to truly create the value that you're supposed to bring in.
Money
into
always
the world.
Follows. Money will be there. You got to be smart with it. But I'm like, money will always come if you were something.
I guess along those lines, it's just, in your youth, just be youthful. Go try new things.
Well put, yeah.
My goodness, Bucketless golf, oil, like,
who would have thought that? That's the thing though, like my friend came to me and goes, Trav, I know you're always down. And like for me, I was stoked that he was like, Trav, I know you're always down and you don't care what people think. So if you mess up, it's okay. And I'm like, if you look at our first videos, I was like, So anyways,
Yeah.
Gamble Sands, if you want to go to this trip, it's like, yeah, it wasn't cool.
Well, dude, think about it. How many people are doing things that they hate to do, and they're doing it
it's
out of
everyone.
necessity? But it's not truly necessity. There's a lot of opportunity out there. Scarcity is the world's biggest lie.
We are so blessed right now. We have so much to be thankful for that, like, we don't have all these, like, the fight or flight. We do have the luxury of going out and trying new things. My dad, it took forever for him to come around, like, because I've been doing this since I was, I don't know, 23.
Yeah.
And he's like, he always just thought, Trav, you're just all over the place. What are you doing? I'm like, Dad, why would I stay at that job that I can always go back and get? Like, I'm overqualified for that job. I'm like, I can do way more. I'm like, let me go try all these other things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm still single. I might as well go find something I love. And now it's like, truly, I got Bucketless golf trips. Love it. But honestly, the raising cash, I'm really good at it. And I love to do it. So I was like, I finally found something. I would have never done it if I would have stayed at like the 30 jobs I had before this.
So when I told him, because I used to work at Walmart as a store manager.
Heck yeah, let's go.
And then one of my buddies, gets me into this whole direct-to-home arena. So I end up quitting my safe and secure corporate job, 401k, health insurance, life insurance, whatever. My mom was not happy.
Oh, I'm sure.
She says, why would you do that? You're so set up for your present and your future. That's insanity. I think that's a stupid move. And then, call it 4 years after I was in the...
She was going, you're so smart.
You're so smart. I'm so glad you made that move. I always
knew you were going to do it.
I believed in you. I'm so glad you left Walmart. That's the best decision you could have made, etc.
Yeah.
So it's just part of it. So take the quote unquote risk. It's not a risk. If you stay at a status quo, that's the risk.
What's risky?
And just go for it. Just have fun with it.
Staying in the mud and just sitting there forever and like never trying to jump. That's the craziest risk ever. Never trying. I go, that just seems scary to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, you doing a cold plunge, it's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, sauna, I can do it all day, every day.
Oh yeah, the heat.
But man, the cold for me.
The heat's luxury. The heat's luxury.
But I know what it does. It gets you out of your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is your danger zone. Nothing worth writing about happens in the comfort zone. And you always deal with that fear. Then you deal with the learning, and then you deal with the growth.
Yeah, definitely.
So to end this combo, this has been a great combo. I've learned a lot.
No, I appreciate it.
I'm sure you've poured into a lot of folks here that are taking a lot of great notes and going to start implementing things. We always say that knowledge is not power, knowledge is potential. It's the application of knowledge that's power.
Amen.
So let's end this with whatever you feel is worth sharing in regards to living your life more by design instead of just by default. What advice can you give us?
I would say, going back to what we talked about before, is everyone has a gift. And so if you're someone that's listening to this and you think, no, like that person's good at that person's good, they can do it. Everyone has a gift somewhere, and if it's not unlocked yet, it's your duty to live the life, because we have so many luxuries and blessings here, especially living in America. It's your duty to go find what you're good at and what your gift is for the world. And so it's like, if you haven't found it, if you don't know how, go ask someone. But it's your responsibility to go find what makes you tick and what really lights you on fire to get after life.
Beautiful. Mic drop.
Let's do it.
Live life by design.
Hey, that's what it is, baby.
Being on.